Hi, I'm Josh Clark, WSA's Restoration Coordinator, bringing you a series on how to conduct a residential site assessment, or RSA. This short video will highlight the RSA process at a home in Riva. For a longer explanation of the RSA process, please watch video 1. For the Riva site, we have already completed the desk assessment using GIS. We discovered that this property is likely to have some significant slopes, will be in the critical area, may have water coming down the street from further up in the neighborhood, and has predominantly type B soils with moderate to high infiltration rates. We have communicated with the resident to let them know what to expect from the RSA with these details in the RSA resource folder on the Steward Only page. Remember, it is helpful to bring along a clipboard, pencil, blank RSA forms, a map of the property, a camera or cell phone, and your Steward business cards. You can also bring along an RSA packet containing information about WSA, rainscaping, and pollution sources. There are 3 parts to a successful resident interview and site assessment: the interview, observations, and recommendations. We will walk through each part. Here we are on Cedar Drive in Riva. The homeowner, Michael, asked us to visit his home today as he is concerned about stormwater coming from down the street, erosion he has seen in his backyard along the South River, and not being able to get plants to grow in his yard's shady conditions leading to bare soil and erosion. Now that you've gathered the information from your interview, you may complete the RSA form while you walk with the resident, or you may ask for some time after you walk with the resident to take notes and photos by yourself. Be sure to take plenty of notes and mark important areas on your map so you can prepare your RSA resident follow-up letter. Water is key to our assessments. In this case, we see that a substantial part of the neighborhood is uphill from this property. When it rains, stormwater flows down to, onto, and past this resident's home. The impervious surfaces from the homes, sidewalks, and roads all funnel their stormwater towards this property. Next, use your RSA checklist to note hotspots and pollution sources. Hotspots can be areas where there is flooding or standing water, bare dirt, or invasive plants. For this property, we notice bare soil on the right side of the house where it is shaded out by trees in the resident's home. A downspout is flowing directly into this area and combines with overland flow that is coming off of Cedar Drive. This is leading to erosion. Once the water passes through the yard, it flows down the steep slope behind the house and directly into the South River. On that steep slope at the rear of the property, we see a lot of invasive species such as English ivy, euonymus, and other ornamental plants that have escaped garden beds. These invasives are strangling native trees that are holding the slope together with their roots. Remember, while you are still on site, take a moment to jot down some initial notes about what rainscaping practices might help the homeowner slow down, spread out, and soak in their stormwater. In this situation, on the right-hand side of the yard, properly connecting a rain barrel to the downspout will help slow that stormwater down. The rain barrel could be directed into a conservation landscape planted in the area that is currently bare soil. This conservation landscape, planted with deep-rooted, shade-tolerant plants, will slow down the polluted runoff and help it sink into the ground. Mapping out their locations will be helpful when you get home and prepare your follow-up letter. The steep slope covered in invasive species is beyond the scope of a watershed steward, but an important issue to point out to the resident. Not only is this property in the critical area, but it is located directly next to the river within the 100-foot buffer where special permission from the county or city is needed before any clearing may be done. Often, residents don't know how to begin tackling this type of problem. Providing the names of professionals who are familiar with this unique issue will be helpful to the resident. You can find contractors who do this work on the WSA contractor list. The water coming from the street and the properties of uphill neighbors is also a complicated problem. The resident may want to encourage neighbors to use rainscaping practices to slow or reduce the volume of water coming from their homes and driveways. If street runoff is damaging property or causing erosion, you may suggest that the resident contact the county or the city. After you've completed the RSA form, be sure to thank the resident for their time and give them a timeline as to when they will receive their follow-up letter.